On Wednesday, we took a trip to Seward to visit with Mike Briggs over at Briggs Feed Yard, and I started by asking how the uncertainty with corn prices and corn yields is changing his approach to business.
It's really been difficult, because a lot of people are really expecting a rally and you don't get it. So if you've bought a lot of corn out front thinking, hey, this thing's going to go up, corn actually backed up pretty bad, so you were in kind of a bad ownership position. Now and then it gave you a chance to get some more ownership if you felt like it. Now it's kind of started to ratchet up. I believe we're going to continue to ratchet up. I believe we've probably seen as big a crop as we're going to see, and it's just going to get smaller from here. My biggest concern is, and the biggest question is, what are harvested acres really going to be? All that flooding and everything, and the government keeps coming out and saying all these acres are there, all these acres got planted. Well, but we're going to have to probably wait till January till the final crop report, but I just don't think the crop is going to be as big, so I think you're going to want to have a little corn around you, especially if you're buying a lot of cattle. You need to have your corn needs probably locked up.
Has the market recovered from the Tyson plant fire that we saw, or still feeling the effects of it?
As of yesterday, the market finally recovered to the same level it was before the fire. I think the market's in pretty precarious situation here. After we had the big hard down, we've gone pretty much straight up, haven't backed it up at all. And my biggest concern is the reason we've been able to muddle through this is Packers added full day Saturday slaughter. Well, okay, that's great, but where is the point where the linchpin comes out and they go, we're not going to slaughter anymore on Saturday? That's going to be a problem right away until that other plant comes back up online, and they're still telling us that's going to be out to the first of the year. So we're in a really precarious supply and ability to process that supply situation, because we've got a little bit more supply than we have actual slaughter capacity at this time. Now, at this point, we've gone through our biggest supplies and we're having a much better shot at equilibrium. But the thing is, we're so razor thin, it could be another fire, it could be a cooler breakdown, it could be a pneumonia leak, it could be anything that shuts down another facility, and we're right back in the bad situation again. I'm really concerned about our packing capacity as we go forward.
And looking at live cattle, room to go higher here, or you see a correction coming?
I think we have to have a correction because, like I said, we've gone straight up. It doesn't have to be very dramatic. Mm-hmm. We're going into the time of year where usually we ratchet things up. One of my best indicators for demand is the choice select spread, and the choice select spread yesterday was $27. That is wide. That shows a lot of demand for choice product. I think Packers are having trouble finding a lot of choice cattle for whatever reason. So demand is really good in backing us up. So long as we don't have any hiccups in our economy, I think we could just keep grinding this thing higher. But I do think we're going to have a setback here one of these days because we've just gone straight up.
And feeder cattle looking good to you?
Been a lot of money lost in the feeding industry starting since last January all the way to now for various reasons. The weather was a huge impact. That impacted us all through the summer. We just about crawl out of the hole, and then we have a packing plant fire. So there's been considerable equity losses in the feed yard industry, and unfortunately that stuff goes downhill. And I think these feeder cattle guys are going to struggle a little bit because we're going to have to buy feeders cheaper because we've got to recoup some losses. We've got to be able to buy some margins, and unfortunately that's going to put pressure on them. And higher corn's also going to put pressure on feeder prices. So I don't think that looks very good for the stocker guy and the cow-calf guy here for a little bit.
What about some things you're focused on as we get into the first quarter next year?
I think you've got to be really, along with this packing issue and some of the other things in this issue, you've got to be very aware of your risk management. They're talking about yet another bad winter. I find it hard to believe when last year was the 5th wettest on record that we're going to follow it up with another one. I hope not. But so you got to be aware of those things. But I think the market's good as we go into next year. So you want to be careful with your risk management. You don't want to overdo, but don't underdo either, because there's an awful lot of risk in the market right now.
And you're talking about risk management. Any other marketing advice you want to leave us with today?
I'm using a lot of options. A lot of people hate that, but I'm trying to leave my upside open. If you want to be a hedger, you know, I'd be a percentage hedger on the way up. I just think a guy's got to use risk management in this day and age. If you're running around out there just feeding cattle cash to cash, good luck to you.